Hello and welcome, everyone, to Good Old Rocky Talk, a Vol Society podcast. I'm your host, Brad, here with my partners, the Davids. We're glad you're listening wherever you are. This is Good Old Rocky Talk. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Good Old Rocky Talk. I am your host, Brad Frank, your founder of Vol Society, here with my partners, the Davids. I got them both back today. David Dees, David Morrison. How we doing, guys?
Doing well, Brad. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Morrison, it's good to have you back, buddy. We missed you last week. If everyone listened to episode 2 last week, we unfortunately did not have Morrison with us, but it's good to have you back, buddy. We missed you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be back on here. Everything is squared away and ready to talk some Tennessee football tonight.
Let's do it.
He
David
wasn't.
Dees,
He
how
wasn't
you
going to
doing?
miss. I'm good, man. He wasn't going to miss Pitt week. He's too excited for Pitt. This is a big game, so he wasn't going to miss it.
That
Absolutely.
boy. That's what it was. It was Ball State.
We got our
David
game
said, you know
faces on
what?
today.
Morrison said, you know what? It's Ball State. I'm just going to give them a lame excuse. We're
Yeah,
going to kick their
exactly.
tail. I don't need to waste my time with this. And guess what, Morrison? You were right.
Yeah.
You were
exactly.
right. Because
Exactly.
we did kick their tail.
Absolutely. It
What
was
a
all
beatdown,
over.
right?
It was all over by halftime.
Total beatdown. Well, listen, guys, it's good to have everyone here. Before we get started, again, I want to say thank you and welcome to our listeners. And if you're new here, we're glad you found us. Here we are, episode number 3. We're still around. No one has left a review saying you suck. Get out of here. So we're gonna keep doing this thing until someone says get off the air. We're actually getting a lot of good feedback on this show, and we're just happy to be here and talking football. So wherever you are, drinking a cup of coffee or whatever your drink choice is, we're just, sit back, relax, and let's talk a little football. So, guys, let's just kind of get right into it. Here we are. We just got done beating the crap out of Ball State, which we all knew we would. Okay, I think everyone kind of knew that. But let's kind of talk about that. Tennessee wins 59-10 against Ball State on a Thursday night matchup. Thoughts, briefly. Morrison, you want to start?
It was pretty basic, pretty vanilla throughout the whole game. Not a lot to really take out much from this game. Hendon Hooker did what he had to do, put up some good numbers, 4 total touchdowns in the game for him. Uh, but he didn't really force any plays down the field. He just kind of went out there, did what he had to do, and get out there as quick as he can, and let some of these younger players
Yeah,
come out there and get some playing experience. Like I said,
right.
just to kind of set the tone for the season, if you will.
Yeah. What do you think, David?
Yeah, I think some bright spots for me. It was very vanilla both sides of the ball, but a few players stood out. I really enjoyed getting to watch Brew McCoy for the first time. Just kind of getting a sample of his athleticism, his
Yeah.
size, the kind of weapon he can be in Josh Heupel's offense. I think the sky's the limit for him. I think he's going to have a big year, and the more comfortable he gets, uh, the more impact he's going to make. On the defensive side of the ball, I really liked watching Aaron Beasley at linebacker. I thought he played a really nice game. One of the best games I've seen him play, and I thought he was physical. I thought he was fast to the football, and I thought he made some athletic plays. And I really like seeing Kamal Hadden come in at cornerback. I thought he added a lot. He got an interception in the second half in that game, and I think he's a guy that's just going to start playing more and more. And I expect him to be a starter at one of the cornerbacks spots before the end of the season. And last, I got to give a shout out to Joe Milton off the bench. I thought Joe Milton
Yeah.
looked much improved. He still obviously has to find some touch. There was a pass there in the end zone that he threw 150 miles an hour and blew the wide
I
receiver's
think it
hands
clocked
off.
in
But
at 175, to be honest with you.
yeah,
I think
he,
that's
he
what they
outthrew Ben
announced.
Joyce there. But no, he other than that, he looked poised. He looked like he had a good understanding of what he was trying to do. And I don't know. I just feel like they're in good hands if they ever have to go up with a backup. God forbid this year. I feel better about him stepping
Right.
in as a second string quarterback than I would have maybe in the offseason.
Well, I totally agree with that. Yeah, like last year, I would say, I think we all would say that, he did not look good at all. Joe Milton was throwing footballs over, like Napoleon Dynamite. How much you want to bet? Uncle Rico would say, I could throw a football over those mountains. That's kind of what Joe Milton was doing
Are
every
you
game, right?
serious?
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Anyways, little Napoleon Dynamite for you, for everyone
Hmm.
out there. No, but you're right. I I would agree with that, David. He had a couple of wild throws there, but overall, I think he looked much better than last year for sure. So I would feel comfortable based off of what I saw the other night. I would be comfortable if he had to come in and step in. It looks like he has improved since last year, so that's definitely a plus. But yeah, just going back in case you missed the game, guys, just kind of an overview. Hooker, he did throw for 222 yards, two touchdowns, and ran for two touchdowns. So, I mean, you look at those stats. I mean, the guy did obviously what he needed to do.
That's just one half.
Correct. That's one half as Joe Milton came through. I believe came in through the sometime midway through the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, so yeah, he did what he needed to do. He looked fine. And then, of course, we had Jalen Wright. I think he led Tennessee the ground game with 86 yards and a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. So a nice night for Jalen Wright. A couple of notable things I thought would be worth sharing. Hooker, he extended his streak of games with having thrown a touchdown pass to 13. That is now tied with Tony Robinson back in 84-85 for second all time in Vols history behind Heath Schuler's 18. We all know Heath Schuler from 92 to 94.
He's going to break that record this year if he stays healthy, right?
That's right.
I was
And then
thinking the same thing.
Hooker's two touchdown passes gave him 33 in his 2-year career at Tennessee. That's 10th on the all time list.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Vols receiver Cedric Tillman, he had his streak of 7 consecutive games with a touchdown reception come to an end last Thursday. But that's okay. But Tillman is Tennessee's all time leader. Tennessee has scored 45 or more points in its last 4 games. That is tying a school record set in the last 4 games of the 1993 season. So pretty cool stuff to kind of look at since Heupel's been around, which is awesome to see. Yeah, so guys, let's go on to the next. We don't need to talk anymore about Ball State. I mean, that game was pretty much just what we thought it would be. Our predictions were pretty much spot on for that game, and I do agree with you guys. Even though we kicked their tail, I don't think we really showed a lot. So it's hard for me to really say how good we're going to be this year as of right now. We played a team that was no good, really, in my opinion. So I can't really say if I'm really excited or disappointed on certain parts of the offense, defense, special teams, because I just don't think we showed a lot. But we'll certainly find out this Saturday. So let's go ahead and move on to that, guys. And before we do, let's talk a little bit more about last week. So, hey guys, what did we learn this past week in college football in general? David Dees.
Well, we learned that Alabama and Georgia are still the two teams that everybody's looking up at, as much as it pains me to say that. Uh, we learned that there was some really, David Morrison and I were talking off air, there were some really great games, opening weekend games, that were a lot of fun to watch. I hope everybody got to enjoy some of
Yeah,
those. I
probably
enjoyed
the
watching.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Morrison.
I was just gonna say probably the best week one in maybe college football history. Just some great games the last 4 days, and Monday night's game
No
was
question.
pretty entertaining up until about the fourth quarter.
Another reason why college football is just unbelievable and why we miss it every year, right? I totally agree. It was one of the best. I mean, week one, and it was just unbelievable. A lot of highlights to talk about. These continue.
No, just I love that Florida Utah game. I was hoping Florida would lose. I'm not going to be one of these people that freaks out and says, "Okay, I thought all offseason Tennessee this was the year we're going to beat Florida, and now I don't think that." I'm not going to say that, but Anthony Richardson he put on a show. He was unbelievable. I do think that Utah was had the humidity and some things go against them. But I was surprised with how Florida was able to out physical them, especially with the Gators' offensive line against their defensive line. Uh, I wasn't super impressed with Florida's defense. They look kind of pedestrian compared to past Florida defenses, but I thought their quarterback obviously, and then they've got a freshman running back, Travis Etienne's brother, Trevor Etienne. He was explosive and looks like he really can be a big play guy for them in that offense. Um, so I'm not ready to crown anything for Florida yet. I know there was a bit of an overreaction in the rankings, bumping them up to number 12, going from unranked
Oh
to number
boy,
12.
I saw that.
But is what it
Oh
is. That
well.
just makes for hey, let's take care of business this week, and let's have Florida
Yes.
beat Kentucky this week, and then let's get an
Yes.
old school 4-0 4-0 rivalry game going here in Neyland in a few weeks.
Let's do it. Yeah, Morrison, what did you learn this past week?
As far as the SEC goes, like I said, what Dees was talking about, Georgia and Alabama is just a level above everybody else. But really, just I think after Georgia and Alabama, it's kind of wide open in both divisions, in my opinion. I think
Yeah.
we put up a good effort against Ball State. Yeah, it's a lesser opponent, but I thought we had a good showing. Kentucky had a little bit of issues with Miami of Ohio. South Carolina had some issues with Georgia State.
Hey,
Florida.
don't let Shane Beamer say that though.
No, exactly.
What a
That guy,
clown.
man, he'll go
What a
crazy over
clown.
come from behind win against Georgia State. Yeah.
Yeah,
Beamer the
a-
clown.
absolutely.
Gosh.
And then, and funny enough, Vanderbilt's now 2-0 on the year. They get a
Oh, they're gonna win a national title, guys.
absolutely. I mean,
They got one more
yeah,
win in them, and then they're not winning the SEC game all year.
You better believe it.
probably so.
Yep.
And then even out in the West, like I said, outside of Alabama, Texas A&M and looked somewhat decent. Their game kind of it wasn't their fault. The weather just kind of messed their whole routine up. LSU, kind of had a flat performance Sunday night. So like I said, I just think in the SEC, after Georgia and Alabama, it's just wide open from like 2 through 7, and then just kind of the rest of college football. I thought the ACC had besides Florida State, had a very down Saturday. The Pac-12 looked awful. Goodness gracious, Oregon just went through the wood chipper tenfold against Georgia. And Bo
Destroyed.
Nix has not improved in 4 years in college football. He may be worse than JG. I mean, it
Oh
was.
yeah.
Dan Lanning may find himself on the hot seat pretty soon there.
Oh, no
Uh,
question.
who knows? And and like I said, I was just happy overall just to see college football back on TV and seeing Dr. Pepper commercials every 5 minutes and the Heisman House and just kind of the typical Saturday routines and the
Yeah.
traditions. I'm just happy just to see it back on
Oh yeah,
college
we're
football back
back in
on
it.
television and getting into the
Yeah, we're
routine.
back in it. Back in the full swing of things. It's always good to see those commercials. Those commercials were actually pretty funny. Some of those
They
were
are. They are.
hilarious. It's good
What was your
stuff.
favorite game to watch over the weekend, Brad?
Oh gosh. Um, I must say, that LSU game was incredible. And let me tell you, a lot of people probably did the same thing. I actually saw online a lot of people were doing this, and a lot of people on our Vol Society Facebook page. By the way, if you're not following us on Facebook, Twitter, and the works, Vol Society, get on there and follow us. A lot of people said the same thing. I had mentioned a comment about how awesome that LSU game was, and so many people did what I did. They said, and I was, most people were like, and I literally was getting ready to go to bed, turn the game off, and I'm so glad I didn't. I did the same thing. I actually watched a lot of the game downstairs, and then I was getting tired, and I said, all right, I'm going to go to bed. I go to bed, and for whatever reason, I have the YouTube TV, so you can get it on your app.
Mm-hmm.
And I lay
Same
in
here.
bed. I'm like, all right, I just need to, let me just put it on one more time and just see what's going on. Gosh, am I glad I did. It was an incredible ending. Incredible. So
It's like a
I have to
movie.
say, I'm very glad I did turn it back on. So that was probably my most exciting game. What an ending.
I was one of the
Seriously.
guys that went to bed, so I
See,
found
there
out
you
the
go.
next morning.
Through a text from me probably at like 7 a.m. I think I texted you, right? At like 7 a.m. saying, dude, you just missed a heck of a game.
All I
It
know
was
is Jared
incredible.
Verse for Florida State is a heck of a player, and
He
Tennessee
is.
just narrowly missed out on him this past
Yep.
offseason. If he was on this roster,
Oh my
oh
gosh.
man, what a handful he'd be.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, so that would be my favorite game. Real quickly, what did I learn? Just to share what I learned this past week in college football. If you watched the Georgia Oregon game, I think you learned that the SEC is the strongest conference in the game. Period.
Hmm.
I think you learned
Well,
that
you
number
learned
one.
with Utah losing at the Swamp and
Yes,
Arkansas beating Cincinnati. They showed really well. The only loss was LSU of the whole
no
weekend.
question. But so many people thought this was going to be a game. Okay, Georgia and Oregon. So many people did. I have a guy I play golf with. Quick story: I was golfing with him this morning. Great guy, older guy, retired. So yeah, his neighbors are huge Georgia fans, and they invited him over, right? And they said, "Yeah, come watch the game on our back deck. We're gonna watch it, and since we're playing Oregon, it's gonna be a heck of a game, probably low scoring to the wire, all that, and we're gonna play a drinking game too." And he's like, "Okay, what is this?" And they said, "Well, you got to take a shot every time Georgia scores. All right."
God,
So this guy, and
is this
I look
serious?
at this guy and I go, and this guy, I'm telling you, if you saw this man, this guy, by the way, he's fantastic. I love this guy, but he doesn't drink a lot. And I said, and you actually did it? He said, you dang right I did it. He said, I couldn't back down. He said, I'm telling you right now, I was drunk.
I'd
And
say
he
so.
said, I wasn't no good to anyone the next day. He said, I stayed in bed most of the day. I said, golly. He goes, well, I wasn't expecting that to happen. I mean, gosh, Oregon, you think they'd be good. I said, they're not. I said, come on, man. I could have told you that. Anyone in the SEC can tell you, don't mess with the SEC. That's all I'm going to say about that.
No, and don't ever go watch a football game with Georgia fans. Good grief.
Oh, gosh.
You want to be
No.
barked at the whole time?
I know, right? Anyways, I had to share that because it was kind of funny. I was like, wow, you must have been feeling pretty good. But anyway, so yeah, so that's number one. Number
Phew.
two, as David Dees mentioned, Florida. We found out that Florida does have a QB in Anthony Richardson. Um, could present problems for us. We shall see. He did have over 106 yards rushing, averaging 9.6 a carry. So I'm a little worried about him. We need to figure out how to contain that guy. But as David said, I wasn't impressed with their defense. Really, anything else for that matter. We have to figure out how to contain that guy though, or he could be trouble. Okay, that's just the bottom line. So we learned that. Number three, I think if you did catch the South Carolina game, I think we all learned that you were validated that Shane Beamer is a clown, and
Yeah.
and he acts like a total idiot with his excitement. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go on YouTube, Twitter, type it in. Hey, I'm all about being excited, pumping up your team, but I'm going to tell you right now, this guy's a clown. Okay, David Dees, you sent me a
I sent you a
tweet.
tweet.
You
Yeah.
sent me a tweet today,
He is a
highlighting
twit.
this. Guys, it's a problem. I don't like it at all. David Dees, am I wrong on this? I mean, this is
I just think
this
it's
is
corny. I
outrageous.
just think it's corny.
It's
And
so corny what he's doing.
yeah.
Get over it. Come on. Anyways, so I learned that. I also learned that LSU has a QB, Jaden Daniels. Hey, I was a little bit impressed with this guy. Much like Florida, he can hurt us too if we don't contain him well. Figure that out with our defense. That could present a problem for us. All right, he rushed for 114 yards. All right, so all in all, excellent week last week in college football, and I'm glad it's back. All right. Those are my thoughts. Let's go into a new segment that I just created. You guys don't even know about it yet. But I think our fans are going to appreciate this and like it. but it involves you doing a small task. In fact, I'm going to have you guys do it right now if you want to. Live, open up a new tab while we're doing this podcast. I call this segment, and ESPN does something very similar, but we don't like ESPN, and we're going to change it and make it our own. I call this quick segment here, guys. It's called Did That Just Happen? Guys, if you haven't seen this is so funny. Go on Google or YouTube, I should say. All right. And type this in and tell me this isn't hilarious. You might have already seen it. So during the college football game this past week against, let's see, it was South Carolina State and UCF. Did you guys hear about this? So funny. It went viral. So basically, the South Carolina State punter made an epic fail. An epic fail play when he ran 10 yards past the line of scrimmage. And as he was about to get manhandled, decides to punt the ball. It is hilarious. And here's the thing, it was like 4th and long, okay? It was like 4th and 20 or something like that, 4th and 25. This guy ran an incredible run. He ran like 15, 20 yards. And then as he's about to get hit, he freaks out, loses his mind. I'm not kidding you. And just punts the crap out of the ball. And everyone is stunned. Players just kind of stop. Referees are like, and the announcers are the best part. They're like, one of the announcer goes, okay, that was very illegal. And I mean, it was the funniest thing. It was so great. So, anyways, that's our segment. Did that just happen? If you want a good laugh, go on to YouTube, type that in. It's fantastic.
Who were the two teams
Fantastic.
again?
Yeah, it was South Carolina State, UCF.
Okay.
It's fantastic. I'm telling you, it was incredible. Anyways, so that's our segment. Did that just happen? All right, guys. We have Pitt Saturday. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little nervous. I know we can beat this team, but this is our first big test of the year on the road. Johnny Majors Classic. I got to tell you, man, like, I'm nervous because I want this win and we need this win. I guess we don't, let me rephrase, we don't need this win,
It's a
but it
big
would be
opportunity.
it would be a big win for us. So I want to talk about it a little bit. So let's start with, I guess I'd like to hear from you, Dees and Morrison about Pitt this past week. By the way, another incredible game. Pitt
That's
and
a
West
game of the year
Virginia.
candidate, and it's week 1. But if you
It's
didn't check out the backyard brawl, it's
it's
going to be one of the
incredible.
best games of the year. It's going to be hard to beat that.
It is. So Pitt won 38-31, okay, against West Virginia, which is arguably one of the best games of the year right now. Is incredible. Guys, I've talked enough. I want to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts on Pitt? How did they look to you? And what are your thoughts going into Saturday? Who wants it? Dees?
I'll let Morrison go first.
All right, Morrison,
Thank
go.
you. My thoughts on the backyard brawl. I mean, it was it was literally a backyard brawl. It was a great game, like you mentioned. Two rival teams that hadn't played in a long time. Um, I thought my first thoughts of the game was the quarterback Keenan Slovis. I thought at times he held on the ball a little too long, especially on third downs. And
Yeah,
West Virginia brought a lot of pressure to him, and that's something that we need to take advantage of because I just it's one of those things you don't just like gradually just change that from one week to the other. It takes a little while to get that confidence going, and we need to strike it while it's hot right now.
right.
Um, I thought Ronnie Anderson, the running back, looked really good. Even though he was banged up in that game, he still put out a valiant effort, and he's a big old running back. It's going to be a load to kind of take down. So hopefully our guys will be ready on that defensive line, our linebackers, because I think they're really going to rely a lot on him. It just depends on his health. The as far as the defensive line goes, it looked solid for the most part. They had an injury. One of their best players is got hurt, so we'll see his status coming up as the week goes on. But as far as like their secondary, I thought West Virginia did a really good job kind of getting past them. And I think we got obviously better wide receivers in West Virginia. So that's kind of gives me a little bit of hope uh, for Hendon Hooker and for Tennessee is to go after these corners because, like I said, they're gonna be going up against Cedric Tillman, 1,000-yard wide receiver from last year. Brew McCoy, a big wide receiver. Jalen Hyatt, Squirrel White, Ramel Keaton, the two Jimmies. I mean, those are fast wide receivers. So I'm interested to see can Tennessee hang in there with them. And and as far as Hendon Hooker goes, this is going to be his fourth straight year playing Pittsburgh, and I have his numbers. Um, in 3 games he's played against Pitt, then this is all the numbers combined together. So he's 38 for 56 for 601 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Uh, in like I said, this will be his fourth game coming up playing Pitt. Like I said, he played against Pitt when he was at Virginia Tech the first couple of years, and then he came in when Joe Milton went out last year and put up a valiant effort, which that's how he got the starting job. So I feel confident, Hendon Hooker, as far as he knows this team. He's played them now 3 years in a row. Uh, and like I said, and just kind of the rest of the team goes. But like I said, it's going to be a challenge. This is a big game for Josh
Yeah.
Heupel. This is you know, like I said, like you said, probably not a must win, but this definitely can get Tennessee some talking heads to talk about us and to get some national attention. Like, whoa, Tennessee, it's been X amount of years since they beat a top quality team on the road, a non-conference opponent, uh, and like I said, is Tennessee for real? Are they? Can they contend with the typical college football talk? Can
Right.
they contend with Georgia? Can they do this?
So David, after watching Pitt,
Mhm.
kind of analyzing them the other night, where can they hurt us
I think where they could hurt us uh,
or make it a
is
challenge for us? Where we need to be on top of our game.
yeah. I
You know.
think if we don't get to the quarterback, get to Keenan Slovis, and like I said,
Yeah.
our secondary is still kind of thin. There's while we did get a couple of turnovers last week, but I think it's still kind of inexperienced and thin. And Ball State
Hmm.
exposed us, especially on third down. If we don't get to Keenan Slovis, he could hurt us on those second down and third downs where he takes that 7-step drop, looks his first route,
Right.
second route, and if we don't bring somebody in his face or get him uncomfortable, they could really hurt us down the field. And like I said, it depends on the health of Rodney Anderson. I mean, he really kind of drug West Virginia through some big plays, and he had a nice touchdown run kind of late in that backyard brawl. So that's the
Yeah.
two I'm kind of concerned with is not pressuring, not getting to Keenan Slovis on some big passing plays. Our pass rush has got to really be keyed
Yeah.
in, and then can we contain Ronnie Anderson? I don't wish injury on anybody, and I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't play, but you have to kind of put
Unless
that in
it's
the back of
Shane
your
Beamer.
mind.
Just kidding. Um, sorry.
Okay.
Just kidding. David Dees, talk to us about Pitt.
Yeah, this game's been circled on my calendar since last year. This is a huge game. I said it in episode 1 of our podcast as we were looking ahead to the season. This is the one that I'm the most anticipating. I've watched a ton of
Yeah.
film. I watched the Pitt West Virginia game. Went back and watched the Tennessee versus Pitt game last year a couple of times. So I've seen a lot. Morrison's right. Rodney Hammond is a handful at running back. He's a guy that we definitely want to slow down. But I was surprised that the line not only opened with Tennessee as a favorite at 3.5, but then
Yeah.
jumped up so quickly. It was by 7, got to up to 7
We're
by
5 point now,
today.
right?
Last I saw was 6.5.
Six and a
So
half.
it
Yeah,
got
I'm
as high as
surprised by
7.
that.
So I'm not sure where the sharps
Okay.
money is on this, but just kind of surprised that we're the road team, and that not surprised that Tennessee's the favorite, but just that it was that got that high that quickly.
Why do you
Uh,
think that I think a lot of people are surprised by that. What are your thoughts? What do they know in Vegas? What's
I don't
happening?
know. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe there's some injuries, and I think they think that Pitt's going to have a hard time keeping up with Tennessee's offense,
Yeah.
which is true. I think the equalizer in this game for Tennessee is tempo and pace. Last year when we played Pittsburgh, the game was so disjointed because you had Joe Milton throw some deep balls that he missed on. It could have been 21-0, in the first quarter.
Oh
Uh,
gosh.
Ruined some drives by overthrowing some people. Um, and then you had Hendon Hooker come in relief once Milton got knocked out of the game, and Hooker just wasn't himself. He wasn't comfortable in this offense yet. You could definitely see
No.
that he had potential in that game, but so they went through the game without anybody really taking the reins at quarterback. Um, so anyway, fast forward to this year, Pitt returns 5 starting senior offensive linemen. However, I don't know if they're that great. I watched them on film, and West Virginia gave them problems. Uh, so we'll see. Uh, but the Pitt's identity is their defense. They are physical, they are fast, they are aggressive, and they take chances and they get after the quarterback. They've got uh, 6 or 7 pass rushers that are solid pass rushers that they rotate in and out. You talk about may remember from last year. Habakkuk uh, Baldonado is a senior. They've got
Yeah.
him back. Deslin Alexandra, who was injured in the last game. We don't know if he's going to play or not. He's back. John Morgan came in last game and really brought a lot of pressure. And then there's a linebacker they have in the middle, Servassier Dennis, who's just unbelievable. Um,
Yeah, he's a
and,
beast.
and, and their secondary is a quality secondary as well. So the defense is this team's identity. And if I went back and watched last year, our tempo and our pace in that first couple of quarters really caused problems for Pitt's defense. They were worn out, and you could see that their defense was worn out, and that was a neutralizer for us last year. So sustaining some drives, especially early for us this year, to get our tempo established is going to be huge. Pitt's going to
Mhm.
want to try to slow the game down. I see them wanting to play us like Kentucky played us last year, where they control the time of possession and they really lean on us on the ground game and try to keep us from getting up and down the field so fast. I just think tempo is going to be huge. I think we have wide receivers who can win out on the edges. We're really going to attack the perimeter of Pittsburgh's defense more so than West Virginia did last week. So we're going to get those cornerbacks in a lot of one-on-one matchups, and with our big physical receivers on the outside. And so I really question whether Pitt's going to be able to how they're going to handle that. Um, Huge for us is pass protection this week. You asked where they can hurt us. It's their pass
Right.
rush. We need
Right.
our offensive line to hold up. Gerald Mincy, Jeremiah Crawford, whoever's in that left tackle spot is important. Mincy looked really good against Ball State, so I think he's going to get the start again this week and will play until they need to pull him out if they have to. And obviously the running backs, they've got to help in pass protection. But if they can protect and hold up against that Pitt pass rush so that this offense can get going, I think that we're going to be able to run the ball on them, and I think we're going to be able to attack them through the air. You just got to have the time to do it. And the X factor to me is Hendon Hooker's legs. I think he's unlike JT Daniels for West Virginia last week. Hendon Hooker's a player who can beat you with his legs, and so Pittsburgh's going to have to account for that, and it's going to slow them down. They're aggressive. They like to take chances, but I think this week we have way more weapons in this offense than West Virginia had. So I think Tennessee's got a good opportunity here to go on the road and get a big win.
I agree. I agree. I think it's going to be a good game. But I think we do have a chance to get some revenge this year. So thank you guys. This is good points, good comments. And we'll get to our
I'll say this:
predictions for, yeah,
Slovis is no Kenny Pickett, but he's not bad. He's a good quarterback.
right. Right. That's a good point. And you're right. All right. So we'll get to our predictions a little bit later here in the podcast to end the show. But right now, let's go to our mailbag. Answer a few questions from some of our fans. How does that sound, guys?
Love it.
I'm ready.
It's one of my favorite segments. I love this. So thank you guys for sending us questions. Please continue to do so. We have many opportunities where you can do this. We have a Facebook page, Vol Society, where David Morrison, our senior lead analyst, does a show every Wednesday evening around 8 p.m. live. It's a great place to ask questions. Anything you want answered or even a shout out on the podcast, it's a great place to do it. Be sure to join him there, or you can just go on our Facebook, Twitter, at Society Vol. We're also on YouTube as well at Vol Society. So feel free to, Get on there, participate, send us messages, questions, and we'll be sure to get to them. So let's go ahead and do a few mailbag questions here. First, guys, we have George S. from Jackson, Tennessee. And he asks on Facebook, what are your thoughts on the Tennessee and Pitt doing the Johnny Majors Classic? Well, George, that's a great question. I'd love to answer that first. Well, first of all, I love it. To be able to celebrate the life of Coach Majors and, his accomplishments here at Tennessee and at Pitt, it's a great way to honor him, first of all. Uh, Majors, he coached from Pitt from 73 to 76, and again, 93 to 96. And did you know that the first stint at Pitt, did you know this, guys? This is interesting. I actually didn't know this until a few weeks ago. Did you know that his first stint at Pitt, he actually changed everything about that team from its colors to its logo and to its on field experience? This guy went in and changed it all. I didn't know that. I didn't know he went in and said, you know what? These colors aren't going to do it for us, guys. We're going to change these colors, and this logo is not going to work for me either. Here's our new logo. And by the way, I'm going to bring a winning team to the school. God, is that not incredible? Come on. That's incredible.
He had the blueprint to lay out to win out there.
Bingo. I just think that's incredible. And did you know when he started there at Pitt, he inherited a 1-10 season team. And what he do? Led it to 4 straight winning seasons and winning a national title in 1976. Gosh, what a legend.
Yeah. Didn't Tony Dorsett win a Heisman when he was there?
Sure did.
That's correct.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a huge accomplishment in its own right.
Yeah. And then we all know he came to Knoxville in 77.
Yep.
He coached
And
until
Johnny come marching
92.
home.
Yeah, he coached until 92. And this is great, guys. At Tennessee, 100 he went 116 and 62 and 8 at Tennessee. Gosh. A true legend at both places.
And a heck of a player. All-American
And a
in 56.
heck of a player. We're not
Two-time SEC MVP award, second in Heisman voting, lost to Paul Hornung and should have won the Heisman. Second of all to be screwed over for
Correct.
the Heisman Trophy.
Correct.
Just a legend as a player, legend as a coach.
No question. So George, hopefully that answers your question. Love it. Love the idea of this matchup, and I hope it continues. I mean, it's the guy needs to be honored, and this is a great way to do it. So that's my thoughts. Morrison, Dees, you guys have anything you want to add to that?
I think
Nothing
you
else to
covered it.
add. Long live King Johnny. He's awesome, and I hope he. Unfortunately, we lost him in 2020, but he's beloved by both fan bases, and I wish he could see the game and the classic being played.
Attack,
No
attack,
question.
attack. Always attack. That's my first thought
Love
of
it.
Johnny Majors.
Oh, fantastic. That's awesome. All right, guys, let's go to Lisa K from Macon, Georgia. We got some Georgia people up in here listening to Vol Society.
Vol Nation's all over, man.
You
Been through
ain't
Macon many
lying.
times going to Florida for vacation.
Lisa K. That's right. Lisa K, thank you so much for listening. She comes to us from Facebook as well. She says, besides Neyland Stadium, what is your favorite game day environment? That's a good question. David Dees.
Wow. Great. Is Lisa? Great question, Lisa. Outside of Tennessee, I'm trying to think of ones that I've been to. I've never been to LSU, and I would think in the SEC, that's probably the one I'd like to get to the most. It's probably the most comparable to Neyland Stadium. You always hear about Baton Rouge and LSU at night. So I would love to see that. That's on my bucket list. I've been to Auburn. I've been to South Carolina. I've been to some of the good ones, but I would have
you been to
say,
Bama?
I have, yes.
Yeah.
I would have to say, gosh, Auburn's was pretty good. Nothing compared to what we do here, but it was pretty good. Yeah. That's just
why was it pretty good? What stood out to you at Auburn?
Gosh, I think what stood out to me at Auburn was probably They do like a tiger walk or something like that before the game. There's quite a few
Okay.
people out there and a lot of tailgating. That was a fun environment. I would also like to go to Ole Miss for the tailgating, but uh,
Mm,
and the atmosphere around it, But LSU is definitely on the bucket list. Outside of
yeah.
Neyland, I'd say that's the one that is probably the big one to get to.
Cool. Morrison, what are your thoughts?
I got a couple in mind, both not in SEC country. Uh, and I've never been to either one of these stadiums, but just watching on TV be kind of a cool atmosphere to be a part of. The first one is at Camp Randall Stadium in Wisconsin. The start of the
Yeah,
fourth quarter, they start playing "Jump Around" by House of Pain. Now, I don't know if I can
definitely.
jump around at my age with the student section, but I'm sure that'd be really cool to done 10 years
If Tim
ago.
Brando can do it, you can do it.
Oh, okay.
Definitely.
All right,
Definitely.
sounds good. And then another musical one is down at Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, right before Virginia Tech runs out, especially at night. You get Enter
Awesome.
Sandman cranked up.
That's
That
cool.
those are two of my favorite like college football like somewhat game day traditions and stuff. I mean, there's others, but like of course, like I said, we all love music and we all have musical backgrounds. So like anything musical or singing or crowd participation is always cool. And
Yeah.
LSU, I know they sing "Call 'Em Baton Rouge" start of the fourth
Yeah.
quarter. So I mean, audience like crowd participation, just seeing 80, 90, 100,000 fans singing or doing a chant simultaneously, or those chants, just the that rich tradition of college football. That's kind of the two,
Definitely.
Wisconsin and Virginia Tech
Yeah.
for me.
Those are good ones, David.
Those are really good, David. It's hard for me because as much as I love college football, I haven't really been to a lot of different places. So it's kind of like my answer is kind of like in line with D's. LSU is a bucket list for me. I would love to do that. I mean, obviously we've heard how hard it is to play there. It's a crazy environment, atmosphere. The fans are insane. So I would have to say that would be a bucket list for me. And then I would go back to I don't know why, man. Like I was actually talking to Dees about this not too long ago. But back in the day, I used to actually be just in love with Florida State, man. FSU. Back in the day, when you had well, my favorite guy was Peter Warwick, wide receiver. Back in the day, gosh, we were probably in what, seventh grade at that point of our lives, if I'm not mistaken. But there's just something about it. It always goes back, like you said, Morrison, to like the band and chants and different like rhythms that get you so jacked up and pumped up. And there was just something about that. It's similar to Atlanta Braves, I guess, for you guys, right?
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, that is just, gosh. And I love their uniforms, always have. So I don't know. I just feel like that would be an awesome environment. I've never been to a game there as well, but there's something about the band when they're banging those drums and
You have Chief
just
Osceola
chanting
and
that.
Renegade run out to
Oh
the
my
50-yard line
gosh.
with the flaming spear.
It's awesome, right?
Yeah.
So I just think
Is
that
that
would
what
be really cool to
motivated
see.
your summer in Cherokee, North Carolina? Was being the Florida State Seminole fan deep
There you
down?
go. There you go. Hey, awesome spot to be, guys. Cherokee. Shout out to Cherokee.
Mm-hmm. If you
When I
like
graduated
gambling, go out
college, I
there.
have a degree. I have a degree in sound design, audio technology. I spent a summer there. I got a job. They offered me a job to come and do the sound and audio engineering for a production there, and really cool spot. Hey, talking about bands, I got to mention this, guys. Did you? This is actually quite funny. Did you guys see this in the news that I guess Bama is playing? Who are they playing this week? Texas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you see this about the $1 million ban? Alabama's ban. They're they're
No.
not traveling with the team this
Really?
Saturday, which
Why
is
so?
very and of course clickbait, right? I was like, oh, okay, I got to click on this. I don't know what this is, but I'm going to read it because that doesn't make sense to me, right? The band should be there, right? And after reading this, I don't blame the band for not going. In fact, I'm actually very proud of them for standing their ground. This is unreal. Go on go online and Google this. It's an incredible story. It's so funny. Apparently, Texas is just a total failure. They destroy the bands who come and visit. their stadium for games. Destroy them. And what I mean by that is the visiting band, what they make them do now, they they make them sit in the highest nosebleed section in the worst spot, and they only reserve like not even half of the band could even be there. So they can't even they first of all, they can't even take their entire band because they're only letting them that's how stingy they are. They're letting them
Hmm.
have like half of the seating, for their band, and they're giving them the worst possible seats. And here's what's funny. They actually showed someone took a picture of a band at a game recently and saying, I don't know which band it was, but it said, "Look how pitiful this is." I don't blame Bama at all for not going, and it is the most pitiful thing I've ever seen.
Couple of clarinets and a.
They're literally up in the heavens by
That's hilarious.
themselves.
And
It
all
is
them instruments are
embarrassing.
not light to carry up either.
Hey, an Alabama band director literally said, "Yeah, no, thank you. We will not be joining."
That's
And I
hilarious.
love it. I think it's great.
Well, Pitt this week, they didn't sell any lower level tickets to Tennessee for our fans. So if
You
Tennessee
gotta be kidding
so
me.
if Tennessee was going to purchase tickets to sell for our fans, they returned their allotment because it was all upper deck seating. And so Tennessee fans that are going to that game, they're all having to buy their own way through StubHub
Are they
or
allowed to
whatever.
do that?
I guess so. So now this week,
That's
and
unacceptable.
there's going to be a lot of Tennessee fans there, but they had to pay their way through
I hope we
StubHub or
kill
something like
Pitt.
that.
That makes me so mad.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, it's just unbelievable.
They tried to make it to where all of our people were going to be stuffed up in the upper deck, and Tennessee returned the
Unbelievable.
tickets. Yep.
Anyways, all right. Hey, let's go to Kendall W. from Copper Basin.
Watch out
Good
for the
old
speed
Copper
traps.
Basin. All right, another one on Facebook. Kendall, she asked, who is broadcasting the game on Saturday and who are the announcers?
Morrison, you want to
Well,
take this?
I'm gonna
Yep.
you said it right, Dees, because Morrison is always on top of the broadcasters and announcers. Always, it blows my mind.
I'm a broadcaster and announcing nerd, so I know a lot of
This dude knows everything. I've asked him random questions like, there's no way. How would we know this? He's like, oh, I know. I've known for a year who is going to be doing this game. I'm like, well, how do you know this? He
The
loves
answer's
it.
Pat O'Brien. No.
No.
Yeah,
Brian. This ain't CBS from 1988.
That's fantastic.
I'm Pat O'Brien. No.
All right, David Morrison, I know you know this.
Yes.
David Dees knows you know this. Please enlighten us.
So we are broadcast this Saturday at 3:30 on ABC, and our play-by-play announcer is Mr. Sean McDonough, who at one time was the broadcaster for the Tennessee-Florida game in 1998, and he sounds like this. So get used to it for the next 4 hours.
I love Sean McDonough.
I like Sean McDonough too. He's awesome. He'll be joined by Todd Blackledge and Molly McGrath and Todd Harris for the broadcast. So we got the number. We think they're the number one crew at ESPN, but
nice.
I'm not a Herb
but on
Street
the
guy.
depth chart, on the depth chart to them they're the number 2 broadcasting. So it's we got a good broadcasting crew.
Did you say Herb Street, David?
Yeah, I said I don't like Herb Street. He's probably on their A team. I don't like him.
Yeah.
You know what? I used to love this guy. I thought he was awesome. He's a solid guy. He's great career, good looking guy, just doing his thing, great suits. But you know what? The more and more I think about it and hear him and see him, he hates Tennessee, doesn't he?
I don't know if that's true, though. I just think he's overexposed.
He does.
I think he's overexposed. You just see too much.
I think he hates Tennessee. He doesn't
he lives
care
in
about
Nashville
us.
now, doesn't he?
I don't like it.
Yeah, he's in Nashville because they kind of ran him out of Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Bingo. And we'll run him out of Tennessee. You watch.
I think he's an okay guy. He's overexposed to me and he kind of gets on my nerves.
Listen. Again. Now, if he's listening to this, I love you, buddy.
Come on the show.
I'd love to have you on the show.
We'll
love to have you on the show. But if you're not listening to this, I have some questions about you, Herb Street. We'll leave it at that. All right, guys, I'll tell you what. How about we go on to our next question from Patrick G. from Maryville, Maryville, Tennessee. Very familiar.
He's got him a big rivalry game coming up this weekend with Maryville and Alcoa.
Boom. That's a big one. High school football, guys.
That you may see that pop up on the Facebook page Friday morning.
There you go. That's a new segment we do now on Fridays. We highlight what we think will be a good game of the week here in Tennessee. So stay tuned for our highlight spotlight game of the week. David Morrison will be sharing that on Friday on our Facebook page, Vol Society. So Patrick G from Maryville, he asked, "Who is your favorite Vol in the NFL currently?" That is a great question. Very good question. Let's think about this, guys, for a second. I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and start with this one because I've got a couple off the top of my head right now that I'd like to talk about. I'll go with, man, that's a good question. I think I'll go with Jawan Jennings. How
Yes.
could you not? And I'll tell you why. He's with the 49ers, in case you didn't know. This guy right here, fantastic person. He's worked his tail off to be where he is today, period. Okay? We saw it at Tennessee, and we're seeing it now at the 49ers. I love this guy. His work ethic is unbelievable, it's unparalleled. And I wish him nothing but the best. And so he's definitely going to be one of those guys for me. I'd say a close second for me. It's probably a tie between a couple of guys, honestly. Trey Smith.
Hmm,
Do we remember Trey Smith, everyone?
I do.
Now at Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
We all know his story in Tennessee and the health issues he had there for a while that kind of gave us a scare. The guy worked through it. Here's the bottom line with Trey Smith. Forget about what he does on the field. It's what he does off the field that really gets me. He's a fantastic person, a fantastic human being. So I'm just happy for his success, and he's definitely one for me. And and he's a tie with our other guy who's not a starter in the NFL, but that's okay. What he's doing is fantastic, and he's still making moves. And that's Josh Dobbs.
Yes.
I
Had a
love
great
this guy, man.
preseason.
Possibly
He's
Brown's starting quarterback here pretty soon. Who knows?
It's possible he could be the starting quarterback for the Browns. But Josh Dobbs, although he's not been the starting guy in the NFL since he's been there, this guy has played a crucial role everywhere he's been. And again, guys, it all goes for just these people's attitudes and how they are off the field. He's another one. Fantastic
Class
person,
act.
smart person, and he's a class act. And I have to give a shout out to Josh Dobbs. Love the guy, and I wish him nothing but just great success this year. That's mine. David Dees, how about you?
So I agree with you on Trey Smith and Jawan Jennings. They're two of I love all the Vols in the NFL, but those are two of my favorites. And then of course I love being a Falcon fan. I love Cordero Patterson, CP. Love him.
Definitely.
And
Yeah.
I love this guy, but I hate his team, and so I'll never pull for him to win a game in the NFL. But Alvin Kamara, uh,
Oh gosh.
we play
Yeah.
him this coming week, and I hope they do awful and the Falcons beat them. But outside of that, I like Alvin Kamara.
Most certainly. Those are good. Those are good. How about you, Morrison?
Oh man, y'all picked some great ones. I'll go with Juwan Jennings' teammate Emmanuel Mosley from the 49ers. I think he's
Oh, cool.
done a really good job for them. I really like watching him play. Like I said, what few times 49ers games are on in our area, I think he's kind of really stood out among them. Yeah, like I said, Juwan's a great one. Trey Smith's really good. Of course, I'm a Titans fan, so we got a couple. Morgan Cox, our long snapper, a longtime Raven. Now he's with the Titans, and then Theo Jackson just made the 53-man roster for my Titans. So he had a really good preseason. I think he can possibly. Right now, he's on the practice squad, so I can see him make it up to the roster pretty soon. So that's kind of who I have off the top of my head. Y'all took the ones I kind of wanted, but that's all good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I think we all talked about some really good Vols, man. That's the great man. Don't you love being a volunteer, man?
Hmm.
We have a lot
I
of
just
good
hate there's so
people.
many on the Saints. They've got Callaway,
I
they've
know.
got Kamara, they've
Hmm.
got Alante Taylor now. And
Shy
I'll probably
Tuttle.
forget Shy Tuttle.
And Shy Tuttle, yeah.
Sean Payton and their GM down there knew that Butch
I know.
Jones and Derek Dooley were wasting a lot of talent that they could get steals in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round.
David, you're saying names that we're not allowed
I forgot
to
they're
say on
banned
here.
from the show. Yeah. A couple of coaches who shall remain nameless wasted a lot of talent here on the
Especially
roster.
that coach that starts with the B, last name with a J. We're not going to ever
He's
say that
about to
name
get his
again.
butt handed to him this week by Ohio State.
Good. Good. Anyways, let's go to Bobby J. Bobby J from Lookout Valley,
Home of the Yellow
Ano-
Jackets.
home of the Yellow Jackets. That's right. On Facebook, Bobby, he asks, what is your favorite? This is an interesting question, Bobby. What is your favorite game day snack?
Oh, yeah. That's a good question.
Bobby, I don't know what made you think of that, why you wanted to know, but my guess is you were probably eating a snack when you typed this question in. But you know what? Here on Vol Society, we answer all questions.
Nothing
And
off
I
limits.
like it because I love food. Maybe I'll
Favorite
start with
game
this
day
one.
snack. Does that mean at the stadium or is that at home or it all belongs?
I think it could mean anything.
All right.
I'll tell you mine. Mine's easy. And we do it all the time here at the house. So my wife makes possibly the greatest game day. We call it game day dip. And it's really more of a meal than just a dip. It is incredible. And it basically consists of a lot of cream cheese. So she puts this in like a big casserole. Now, envision this, guys. It's in a casserole dish, right? One of those big ones. And you layer it. She layers it with like, I don't know if I'm doing the order correct or not, but anyways, it's like an inch or two. I mean, it's thick of cream cheese. And then you throw on like an inch of this chili. And then you do like an inch of like tons of assorted different kinds of cheese, and then you melt it in the you put it in the oven. I don't know how long she does it. That's the key, is doing it just right in the oven, where the cheese, like, oh my god, when it melts just perfectly. And then basically it comes out, and you let it cool for like 15 minutes, and then you get your spatula or whatever, and you cut it into like big squares, however big a piece you want, and you dip it out, right? You just shovel it out, put it on a plate, tortilla chips. Let me tell you right now, it is ridiculous. And we do that every year. In fact, we're going to have that this Saturday against Pitt. So that's mine. It's incredible. How about you, Morrison?
I like pizza and wings. So, kind of we do that at the Morrison house. I like sweet honey barbecue wings. I'm
Mm.
I'm
You
not.
can't go wrong with wings.
No.
No, no, they're the
Never.
greatest invention out of Buffalo
Oh, it's
ever.
incredible. Now, let me
Yeah.
ask you this. Are you a ranch guy with those wings?
Kinda. Everyone depends. Depends on what it is.
I'm a blue
Morrison,
cheese guy.
no! No! You have to have ranch.
I'm a blue cheese
I'll
guy.
have it as a side, but I'm
Blue
You
cheese?
got that right.
That's blue cheese is disgusting. How are we? Oh my gosh!
You just
You
haven't been
just
eating it right.
ruined. You just ruined wings. Let me guess, and you're chowing down on the celery too, right?
it comes
Are we
with
healthy?
comes
Are
with
we
the
are we
meal.
being healthy on game day? Is that
I've
what
been
we're
known to
doing
have.
here?
I've been known to eat some celery with blue cheese. Yeah.
Game day is not about being healthy, guys. Forget the celery.
Well, let me
and
tell
the
you the
blue
rest of my
cheese.
meal. Let me tell you the rest of my deal.
Oh, I'm
If I'm
disgusted.
if I'm at Neyland Stadium, I'm doing the Petros. Got to have
Yes.
some
Okay.
Petros, right?
Petros is good. I love
Mhm.
Petros.
Or a smoky dog and nachos. I got to have some nacho. I love that old. It's probably terrible for you, but the the old nacho cheese stuff with the
Oh yeah,
those are my jam.
yeah, those are good.
And I'm like Morrison. If I'm at home, my wife makes these Asian seasoned wings that are very good. They're Asian glazed wings. but I do some blue cheese, and
Oh,
it is
gosh.
glorious. And you should all try it.
Yeah.
Why don't we
I'll
make some
I'll try
celery
to
while we're
spend.
at it?
I will say this also, not really a snack, but as a meal. But once the later months of the year, the colder months, mainly after Thanksgiving, my mom will fix homemade chili, and so we will
Let's
do
go.
homemade chili, and then
Woo!
Yeah.
rip off Petros, and we just throw the Fritos in
Hey,
there,
chef.
cheese
Do you do regular Fritos or the scoops?
scoops.
There you go.
We do
That's the only way to go
scoops.
is scoops.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
shout out the Petros, okay?
Up in
Yeah.
Knoxville.
Let me tell you
We've got
right
one down
now.
here in Hickson. So if you're in
I,
Chattanooga area,
I,
Hickson has a
I
Petros off
can't even
153.
describe how jealous I am. The one thing I remember when I lived in Tennessee, this is years ago, man, when I would go through Knoxville, I'm not kidding you guys. Petros is incredible.
And the orange tea.
Yes.
Orange tea. It is incredible. And I don't get that now. I'm in North Carolina now. I don't have it. I don't know. I haven't searched for one, but I haven't seen one. But God, there's nothing better than a good Petros.
Yep.
Incredible. Gosh.
Warms your
so
soul,
good.
warms your heart. And
It warms your soul. It does.
You should open one up in North Carolina.
Maybe I'll look into that.
You should.
Maybe I will. It's good food.
Yeah.
I'm hungry now.
That was a great question. Now I'm starving.
Seriously. Gosh. You know what? And to be honest, is that not like we all love the football, right? We love watching our boys play and all that good stuff. But I got to tell you, this may sound crazy, but I don't think it is crazy. Like, if I had to rank it, like, put it on a scale, like, it's literally like 1% below watching the game would be like the food
Yeah.
for me.
My
It
wife
is
does a dip
ridiculous.
that
Hey,
she made the Rotel dip this past
yeah,
Thursday with the scoop Fritos. Oh
yeah.
man.
I mean, does it not make
Nothing better.
everything? The food makes everything better.
Sets the stage. Yep.
I mean, it does. The food makes it better. And if it's bad food, your day can be ruined. Right or wrong.
Well, that's why college football has to figure this thing out with the expensive tickets now. They're going up on ticket prices. I can stay
Yeah.
at my home, have my wife make a Rotel dip with Frito scoops. I've got $5 in it, and I can watch the TV. I can go to the bathroom anytime I want to.
In luxury.
Yeah.
You don't
Sit
have
in
a
my
trough
recliner
in
and
your
watch it.
bathroom, do you?
You're
Dees?
not
I don't have
going
a
to a
trough.
horse trough to pee.
No, and I'm not stepping over peanut shells.
You're
to
going
get
in
there.
your own toilet.
Stepping across lots of people. Yeah.
You're not sitting there
On a bench.
looking at 10 other people in
Hey,
the
listen, I love
face
Neyland
while
Stadium.
you pee in a trough.
I love going to games. But
Right?
They gotta quit raising the ticket prices, right?
And they got to quit doing that. They got to quit doing it. All that stuff, man. Inflation.
I'll give you my report when I go to Akron.
Unbelievable. You know what, guys? I was looking at tickets just for the heck of it. Scalpers, man, this should be illegal. They go in and buy all these tickets, and then they put them on StubHub. Like, have you seen like some of these games, like Alabama, Florida? Like, some of these tickets are going for like $800.
Somebody was selling a ticket for
$1,000.
Akron for $500. I'm like, you can probably get season tickets for Akron the next 2 years for $500.
Is that not crazy? I mean, it's a shame.
Yeah, it's a quick rich scam. You got to be careful when you're looking on those third party sites. You got to look for like standard price or regional price.
Listen, I love my Vols.
Yeah.
But there's no way I'm paying that much to go watch them play when I can sit right at home, eat my dip, go to a real toilet, not a trough.
That's why
sit in luxury, right? Sit in luxury, not on a bench, crammed in there like sardines in a can, sweating. It's the other thing too, right? Like right now, it's hot.
You can swag and surf in your own house without.
Better believe it.
With surround sound.
Yeah.
With surround Dolby Atmos. I think it's what it's called. I think it's what I have. Atmos or something like that. Yeah. All right, guys. Bobby J, great question.
Absolutely.
Love talking about food. Okay. We're now here on our final segment, guys. And then the show's over. Can you believe this show's been over an hour? We're getting longer and longer every week.
We had some
And I
convincing
love
to-
it. I love it. All right, guys. Final segment. If Tennessee wins this Saturday, okay, if they win, what did they do well?
I'll go
David
first.
Dees.
Yeah, for me, I would say that they established their tempo on offense and they pass protected well. And I would say Hendon Hooker used his legs when needed, and we limited our turnovers.
Okay. Morrison.
My thoughts is we got to Keenan Slovis several times, made him feel uncomfortable, forced some bad passes. Hopefully, he turned the ball over a couple of times on us. Our tempo played very well. We didn't have a lot of silly penalties that hurt us. We didn't shoot ourselves in the foot doing, you know. I mean, turnovers are going to happen. You don't want it to happen, but mistakes happen, but you didn't swing the game in their momentum, and then we could never catch back up. So I'd say good, clean football, establish the tempo, and then pressuring the quarterback to force mistakes.
I think Tennessee can. I think pace of the game is going to be important. I think Tennessee can outscore Pitt. I think if it gets into a slowdown game, Tennessee can win that way. But if it's in a fast paced game, I don't think Pitt can win that way.
Interesting.
So like if we're looking at a 40 to 40 game, or in the 40s, I don't think that favors Pitt.
Mm. Okay.
Not this year.
Interesting. So for me, my answer is defense. I'm still uncertain about our defense. But if we win Saturday, then we played pretty good defense. And I think our offense is going to show up, as they usually do. And I think they're going to put points on the board, as we usually do. But if we win Saturday, that tells me our defense did what they needed to do. And right now, I'm a little uncertain about them. I didn't really get to see a lot against Ball State. I'm hoping we just didn't show out. But that's what I'm going with, defense. Okay. All right, guys. Let's end this segment. Let's end this podcast for the week with one of my favorite things to do: score predictions. I'm going to say it one more time, guys. This is a big game Saturday, all right? I'm nervous about it. I'm excited about it. But I got to tell you, mark my words, this is a big, big game for the Tennessee Volunteers. And I want to now talk about our score predictions. So let's start with David Morrison. David, what's the score going to be Saturday?
I'm going to go with Tennessee 34, Pittsburgh 32, Chase McGrath walk-off field goal to win the game.
Wow. So
It's
a
going to be a
very
nail-biter.
close game. So you have a nail biter.
It's a nail-biter, but I think McGrath wins it at the horn.
Nail biter. Wow. David Dees, your thoughts?
I'm going to go Tennessee 41, Pittsburgh 31.
Wow. Okay. So
I think Tennessee gets out on them early in the first quarter, just like we've been known to do.
So I think Dees and myself are kind of thinking the same thing here. My score is a little different, but it's very similar. Tennessee 37, Pitt 27.
There we go.
All right.
So they cover in both mine and your scenarios, and they don't cover in Morrison's scenario. But all three of us have them getting the win.
That's right. We all three have the win.
And that's all that matters.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
I don't
Unless you're
care if we
gambling.
win, unless you're gambling. I don't care if we win by 1 point, as long as we get the W. But I for whatever reason, I don't see this as a nail biter. I think,
I hope you're right.
for my blood pressure, I hope I'm right. I'm gonna put it
Yep.
to you that way. I'm doubling up on Saturday. That's one of the games I'm doubling up on my blood pressure med. So, there's a few games I have on calendar where I need to double up on, and this is one of them. But I think we get this W. It'll be a good game, but I don't think it's going to be a nail biter.
Let me paint this picture for you. So you go up there and get the win. You got 2 weeks to enjoy the lead up to that Florida game. And we're going to enjoy that no matter what. If we go up there, as long as, we play well and feel pretty good about the way we showed up.
Yeah.
But we should win this game. We need to win this game. This is the time for Josh Heupel and Tennessee to make a statement. Let's go up there and do it. And then let's have 2 weeks to talk about this Florida game.
David.
Like it should be.
Bob Ross couldn't have painted a prettier picture.
Thank you, Brad. Yeah. Put a lot of heart and soul into that.
You're right, though. I mean it. Guys, this is so big. Yeah, we win this game. Gosh. I'm telling you, I'm speechless. Could you imagine going into Florida undefeated? I'm not kidding you right now. Vol fans listening right now, you can't tell me Megan hates it when I say this word. We've yearned for this for so long. For so long. Have we not?
Yeah.
For some excitement at Tennessee. And here it could be. It could happen.
And hey, I want Florida to come in here undefeated too. Let's let them both come in 4-0.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Let's get after it.
Absolutely. And that game's going to be rocking. What a show, guys. Thank you so much for joining me again on episode 3 here on Good Old Rocky Talk. And boy, what a talk we had today. Here we are, an hour and 15 minutes in. And here we said at the beginning of this, at the concept of this show, we said we're going to do about a half-hour show. We can't even keep it in a half hour because we're having too much fun.
Too much to talk about. Pitt week. Let's go.
It's Pitt week. Big week. For all of us here on the Vol Society Network for Good Old Rocky Talk, this has been your host and founder, Brad Frank, along with his great buddies, David Dees and David Morrison. Good night. Beat Pitt and go Vols.
Go Big Orange.
Go Vols.